Welcome to this week's episode of the Declutter 360 podcast. I'm Lauren Diekman, a certified home organizer and mindset coach who's created this space that is dedicated to helping you unlock your potential to live an organized life once and for all. Are you ready to get organized from all angles? Let's dive in. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Declutter 360 podcast. We have been chatting recently about meal planning, and while I think it's time that we can kind of move on from that as a, focus topic, if it's something that you still need help with, you still want ideas with, I definitely want to encourage you to come on over to the Declutter 360 community on Facebook. It's a free Facebook group you can join and join the conversation, ask questions. You can even just quietly lurk in there and take ideas as I share them or as others share them in the group as well. So that link is down in the show notes. Feel free to come and join us if you haven't already. But today I want to start transitioning out back into, just kind of talking about some of the general organizing trouble spots and struggles that we all tend to face because life is busy and complicated, right? But it doesn't have to be. I talk all the time here on the podcast and in our Facebook community and with my clients and friends and family, even about, emphasizing bringing more simplicity into your life. And it's no secret that I've been in organizing for a while, but that I also changed companies about 7 months ago. The company I was originally working for was no longer able to continue at the pace that it was. And so I pursued another opportunity. You all got to meet my current boss, Emily, in episode 50. So if you missed that, we had a great conversation chatting about how your kitchen organization, particularly in your pantry and your refrigerator, can help support your meal planning efforts, right? And so definitely give that one a listen. But today, I want to share with you something that I have been using for myself and with my family as a tool to help us stay organized. So, when I transitioned from one company to another with organizing, it brought a big shift in my time and how my time was spent on a day-to-day basis. So I went from working a few times a month to working several days a week consistently. And for anyone who has, had changes in your work schedule, the frequency of your work, how often you're showing up, how many hours you're putting in a week. When you have a big change like that, it can really throw you for a loop. And it definitely did for a while. Definitely took some adjustment on my part, on the part of my family, in understanding, how roles needed to shift in the family, what I was, you know, able to keep up with, what I wanted to keep up with, and what I needed some help with, keeping up with the house and being able to maintain that organization and that order that we'd worked so hard to put into place in our home. And I think that honestly is more than half the battle for so many families. Maybe you can get your home to a place where you feel like you've decluttered enough and it's organized and you have systems in place, but the maintenance piece of that is where you go off track. And if you go off track in the maintenance phase, it's really hard to be able to continually reset your space in the large scale sense. Okay, so finding ways to help you manage your home on a day-to-day basis is so incredibly powerful. because it allows you to skip that major reset, to be able to delegate things out, to have a plan in advance or on the fly. And I'm going to explain this a little bit more. But first, I want to introduce you to a product. I don't do this very often, friends, but I would be remiss if I didn't share this one with you because it was such a game changer for my family. Now, when I purchased this product, 6, 7 months ago, probably about 6 months ago, I think it was in October of 2024. Um, I had heard of it. My husband had brought it up to me in the past, and I had been like, nah, we don't need that. We don't need that. Well, when I shifted into working a more consistent schedule, working outside of the home in a more consistent schedule, suddenly I saw the value and I saw the need in bringing a skylight calendar into our home. And I think the final push for me was seeing it in someone else's home. And once I saw it in action in someone else's home, I was sold. Yeah, like I came home from being out that day and I said, "Oh my gosh, honey, we have to get one of these. We're going to make it happen. We're going to prioritize this in our budget. I would like to purchase a Skylight calendar." And so we looked into it, we did our research, um, and we decided that it was a worthwhile investment for our family. So we purchased a Skylight calendar back in October of 2024. And since then, I have become such a huge fan of this product and what it provides for our family in terms of household management that I applied to be a Skylight ambassador. And so now I am a Skylight ambassador and I'm here to share it with you. Again, I want to be totally clear. Obviously, this is the first time I've done anything like this. I only did it because I believe in this product so, so much. And I sought this out so that I could share it with you. And so, what you're also going to notice in the show notes today, along with that link to join the Declutter 360 community, if you haven't already, but you're going to see some links to be able to go and take a look at the Skylight calendar online for yourself, as well as some discount codes. Now, there are some, a few different size choices. And so there are two different discount codes depending on which size you're looking at. So just to kind of give you an idea, and I haven't even really explained to you at all what the Skylight calendar is, except that it's an amazing, amazing way to keep yourself organized in terms of household management. I'm going to get into all the details here in just a minute, but there are three sizes. Okay, there's a 10-inch, there's a 15-inch. These are both great for mounting on the wall or just having countertop. You could have this on any flat surface in your home. And I have one code that works for both of those sizes. It'll give you 15% off the total cost of those, the 10-inch and the 15-inch Skylight calendars. At my house, we decided we wanted to mount it on the wall, and I am a big proponent of go big, go home. But I wanted it to be a larger kind of a feature. And as we get into some of the features, I'll explain why. But we went with the Skylight Max for our home. This is a 27-inch screen. We have it mounted in our kitchen. And that one, I have a code for $50 off. So if you're going for the Skylight Max, you want to use the Max code. If you're going for the 10 or the 15-inch, which have the option to, sit on a countertop or to be mounted on the wall, then there's a separate code for 15% off of those. So now that I've told you all about that, because I wanted to be really transparent that I am an ambassador for Skylight, and it is because I absolutely wholly believe in this product and I love it so much and for so many reasons that I'm going to dive into now. But let's talk about what this product is, okay, besides just being a game changer for organization and home management. Um, but then also, I'll outline some of these features and talk to you a little bit about how we use them in my family and how I see the potential for you to use them to help you maintain the level of organization, tidiness, all of these things are so possible when you put something into place to help give you that accountability that can be so important in helping us stay on track. Okay, so the Skylight Calendar is a touchscreen calendar. Okay, it has a digital touchscreen display that, again, you can have countertop or you can mount it on your wall. And it runs through lots of different features in a really easy to use interface that makes, checking and coordinating schedules really easy, keeping on top of tasks that need to get done throughout the home, making sure your lists are in order, whether it's a to-do list, a grocery list, a hardware store list, so you don't have to make 8 trips to Home Depot this weekend. Whatever it may be, you can color code the calendar by assigning different colors to different family members. Then it makes it really easy to see, who has what, when, where. You can sync the Skylight calendar with other calendars. So if you already use a Google Calendar, an Apple Calendar, your Outlook calendar, or if you even use, programs like Cozy or things like that to manage your home, you can sync that with your Skylight so that you can easily see these calendars, there as well. It has the capability to manage lists, like I mentioned, but it also has the capability to send you reminders to help you stay on top of things and stay organized. You can set up recurring events for yourself so that if you have routines like a regular sports practice or knowing that you want to meal prep on a certain day of the week every week so that you put a grocery order in or are ready to do your grocery shopping on a certain day of the week every week. You can set all of that up through the Skylight calendar as well. And here's something that I really, really love. Not only do you have this physical touchscreen digital calendar within your home that everyone in your home now has easy access to, okay? But it also comes with an app that pairs to your phone or any, mobile device that you can then view everything for your Skylight even when you're on the go. So I can open up my Skylight app when I'm out at work or out at the sports fields, if I've got my kids at a game or I'm waiting to pick somebody up from school, I can pull up my Skylight app and I can take a look at the calendar and see what I need. Or I can take a look at what the kids' chores or tasks are for the day. If I'm at work and I just remembered something that I really need one of the kids to do before I get home, I can stick it on their tasks list on the Skylight. So when they get home from school, they can go over to their tasks list. And we've created some routines for our kids that, when they come home from school, they know it's, I get home, I can have a snack. I do my homework and then I check the Skylight. Like that's their routine. Once everything is done on their Skylight list and they get all their tasks completed, then they can go and play video games or go see if a friend can play or, do whatever they want to do. They have the freedom then, but they have these responsibilities of coming home and taking care of homework and then taking care of their tasks through the Skylight. And I don't necessarily have to be present for those. But even if I am present, this has been such a game changer for helping remove some of that mental load for me. So let's go ahead and dive in. I talked a little bit about the calendar feature, right? And that you can sync that with other calendars. It makes it really easy for everybody to see. If my kids get home from school, for example, and they tap on the calendar and look, they can see exactly what time I'm working that day, where I'm working, what time, I get off so that they know about what time to expect me home from work, which is amazing. But I want to dive in a little bit more into the tasks list because this is where I think the Skylight calendar brings so much value into the home as far as home maintenance and organization. Okay, so I told you about my kids' routine when they come home from school. It's snack, homework, Skylight before they get whatever free time they want to have and do. Okay, and that gives them a lot of freedom. And like I mentioned, I don't necessarily need to be present, but even if I am, it helps remove that mental load because my kids aren't coming up to me every day while I'm trying to maybe get dinner prepped or work on finishing something up, or even if I'm just, trying to kick back and relax a little bit. I don't necessarily have front of mind constantly a running list of what the kids need to do. It's all there on the Skylight. So whether they need to take out the trash, wipe down the bathroom sink, bring their laundry down to be washed, put their clean laundry away, whatever the task may be, it's right there on the Skylight. And a lot of these tasks, so many of these tasks, we fill out as recurring events. So it's once I have plugged it into the Skylight and I plug in that it, recurs daily or it occurs weekly or twice a week or whatever on these particular days. There's so much that you can customize in how you put in chores or tasks that it is so beneficial and makes it so easy for the kids to just be able to come, well, and really, let's be honest, anyone in the family, myself included, to be able to come and remember and see what needs to get done. But what is also amazing is, when my teenager who is into theater and does shows and things like that, if he has something he needs to work on, like if I know, he doesn't have rehearsal this day, but he needs to be working on his lines because they have to be off book by a certain day. That's actually today. They've got a show next week. I'm so excited for them. Um, we can plug in to the Skylight under his tasks to practice his lines. And then he doesn't forget. It takes that mental load off of him as well. If he has a big project coming up that's due, I have seen my son go to the Skylight and put in, a couple days ahead of a big math test, or if they've got this science lab report they've been working on, and he's kind of looked ahead. I've taught him to look ahead and plan out good times to work on things so that you don't necessarily just end up at the last minute and may or may not have the time that that task requires. He'll plan out, I know I have this particular evening free coming up, and so he will add it to his task list to finish his lab report, to study for his math test, to work on his lines for the play, whatever it may be. Okay, during basketball season, we had one of those digital practice basketballs, and that like works with an app in your tablet. And my husband coaches both of my boys' basketball teams. Huge kudos to him and to all the parents who are coaching sports teams. Such an important volunteer role. But they would need to go and practice their ball handling skills. And we kind of came up with the deal that if they did that for 10 minutes, 15 minutes with the app twice a week outside of days when they had games or practices scheduled, then that was going to help them develop their basketball skills. And so they chose days and they plugged those into their task list. It reminded them that that was something they needed to work on, and then they would get it done. And as I mentioned earlier, through the mobile interface on my phone and the Skylight app, if I'm out and about and remember that, oh, I forgot to, toss this in the crock pot or pull this out or whatever to, maybe help me make dinner prep a little bit faster if we've got a busy evening, I can add something to one of their Skylight task lists for them to be able to help me out. Or if I just need something extra taken care of, or, I remind myself, I see an email maybe that a permission slip is coming home in their backpack today. I will pop into the app, add that onto their Skylight task list that we need to get that permission slip signed. And so then they can't check it off. That's the next piece we'll talk about until it's completed, right? And back in their backpack, and then they can check it off. So the cool thing about these tasks lists is that it's not just a list Okay, it's interactive, which makes it fun for, frankly, anyone, but especially for kids. Okay, so they can come over to the Skylight, tap through to their task list, see what they need to do, go do a chore, come back, and they tap that chore and it checks it off on their list and makes it disappear so that their list gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And I think there is something very satisfying about being able to check something off a list, cross something off a list. I love making lists, whether it's something physical on a piece of paper, so I can take a big fat Sharpie marker and cross that thing out, right? Or it's a digital list where I can put a check mark next to it, or my skylight where I can touch it and it disappears, literally disappears, just like it disappears from my mental load, knowing that I needed to get that thing done. It disappears from the skylight, and I love that. Okay. And so when they check off all of their chores for the day, when they get to the very end and it's boom, 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 okay, all my chores are done, all my tasks are completed and checked off, they get this little confetti party on the screen, which is so fun. And, I think it's fun. My 10-year-old thinks it's fun. Even my 13-year-old, I think, gets a kick out of it. So it's just like that little bit of motivation. Who knew that some digital confetti was the thing to do the trick? But that task management through the Skylight calendar has been a tremendous game changer, not just in getting things done, but helping remove that day-to-day piece of the mental load of constantly having to think about what needs to be done, remember what needs to be done. It's just getting done. What's really awesome is that alongside of the tasks list, you can assign stars to tasks. So there are certain things that I just expect my kids to do. These are their responsibilities around the house, right? Those things I don't assign stars for. And obviously, you can set this up however you want for your family. For me, I choose not to assign stars to everything. There are things I just expect everyone in our home to chip in and help with, right? And so those things are just on their regular task list. But one of their regular tasks every day is to select an extra chore, to do something above and beyond around the house to help out. We call this their star chore. On school days, they only have to complete one star chore. Okay. On weekend days or days off of school, they often are asked to complete two star chores. And then I have a whole separate list. This is how I chose to set it up. So remember how we talked about color coding? So one of my boys chose to be green, one of my boys chose to be blue, if I can get my words out, and then I have a gray, we call it the up for grabs list. Okay, so it's like a whole nother person basically that I created in my Skylight calendar. And I put all kinds of things in there that are extra things, often things that I do on a regular basis, that my husband does on a regular basis, that usually only take a few minutes to complete. Things like restocking the bathroom, so TP, hand soap, all that kind of stuff, tissues, whatever the bathrooms may need. Dusting the living room and family room, or dusting the downstairs, or gosh, I break that down into lots of different tasks, but dusting to vacuuming out like our little fans that we have in our room that we use for white noise, because those get really dusty and funky over time. So that's a recurring monthly task. Vacuuming the family room is a recurring weekly task. Restocking the bathrooms is a recurring weekly task. Wiping down, like washing and drying the counters and our kitchen table at the end of the day as we're doing dinner dishes, those go together and are a daily task. Okay, so these are things that are real quick and easy, but if one or two people in the house are always doing all these chores, it ends up being a bit of a burden, right? So my kids can hop into this task list, and my husband and I are always thinking of new things to add to our up for grabs task list, things that we do that don't necessarily take a ton of time. Like my husband suggested the other day, as we're getting into the spring season and he's mowing the lawn a lot, we have had so much wind around here lately. And my husband knows with his schedule, he typically tries to mow the lawn on Thursdays. And so we figured we can put on that up for grabs task list for our boys to go out and check the yard for sticks and small tree limbs and things that have been blown out of the trees, because that's just something my husband has to do before he mows. He gathers up all the sticks, puts them in a yard waste bag, gets them out of the way so he can mow really easily. Well, if somebody happens to see that in the up for grabs list and goes out and takes 3 minutes, 5 minutes tops to gather up all the sticks, that's just one less thing he has to do when he goes out to mow. Even if I see that on the task list and I've got a free moment, I may go out and take care of that. It just helps our home to function more smoothly. It simplifies the process for everybody. And so when my kiddos complete something off of the up for grabs list, that gives them stars. And then they can redeem the stars for whatever you determine is something that would be motivating for them. Now, if your kids are old enough, I absolutely encourage you to have a conversation with them about this and find out what's motivating to them. Okay. My kids chose being able to have friends over. So we say, okay, X number of stars, you want to redeem that? You can have a friend over. Great. And so over spring break last week, they both redeemed that and had some friends over and they loved that. We had one of those chicken and pickle, like those pickleball restaurants, whatever, open in the last year in our area, and our boys have been dying to go. And so they asked if we could put chicken and pickle on the rewards chart, and I was tickled to say, of course. So we gave that a little bit higher point value. And right now they were just talking the other day. I overheard them saying, we're almost to chicken and pickle. And I told them, yes, you can earn stars and combine your stars to redeem together to go and do something like that. So they're actually cooperating and collaborating to be able to cash in their stars to do something that they both really want to do. So you can set this up in whatever way works best for your family. And as always, I highly encourage you to revisit it over time and see if it's working or if it just needs a little bit of tweaking to really maximize the benefit that you see out of a product like this. Oh my gosh, there's so much more I can talk about with the Skylight because there are so many incredible features. Okay, I talked about the mobile app access. Oh, your lists, you guys, total game changer for the grocery store. Anytime anybody notices like we're running low on everybody's favorite cereal or running low on milk, or I use the last of the oregano, or the oregano is almost empty. I use a lot of oregano. I'm Italian, it happens. I can hop on over to my Skylight or hop on my Skylight app and add oregano or milk or cereal or whatever it may be whenever I think about it to my digital grocery list. And I don't have to be home. My husband can see that we're low on something and can add it to the list. When one of my kids is working on their star chore and restocking toilet paper in all of our bathrooms, and they notice that they grabbed the last of the toilet paper to restock with, they can add toilet paper to the list or trash bags to the list if they're taking the trash out. So then when I show up at the store, I can pull that list up on my app and I know immediately exactly what I need because everybody has had the ability to add to it throughout the week. Plus, I add to it when I meal plan and do all that. And then as I go through the store, it's just like touching that item on their task list on the Skylight and it disappears. I tap the item after I put it in my cart and it disappears from my list. And my list can be sorted. I can move things around so that it's in store order or grouped with like items that'll be located in the same area of the store. It makes me really efficient in my shopping and makes it so, so easy. Oh my gosh, there is meal planning that is included in the Plus plan. And now I know you might be thinking, oh my gosh, what is this Plus plan? The Skylight comes with so many of these amazing features, but there are some additional things that do require a subscription. I chose to go for it because it is like $3 a month for the Plus plan. And that absolutely was worth every penny. Yes, I will pay less than $1 a week to have the option to meal plan so that my kids aren't constantly asking me what's for dinner. They can hop over on the Skylight and touch the meals thing and look and see that we are having pulled pork nachos with corn for dinner tonight. Like super easy because I made pulled pork on Monday. And so today we're going to use that pulled pork again as leftovers and we're going to turn it into some delicious barbecue nachos. Like, oh, yum. I'm excited for dinner tonight. And while I will admit it doesn't fully keep them from asking me what's for dinner, if I'm in the middle of something and just kind of like hold up a finger, like, hold on a second, I'll answer your question in a minute. This works so well with my 13-year-old, especially. He immediately goes, I'll check the Skylight. It's okay. And he walks away and goes and taps the Skylight. I'm just like, yes, okay, because then I can continue to stay focused on whatever I was finishing up. So, so good. Also gives them the opportunity to make suggestions as well. And my 13-year-old thinks he's a joker and loves to eat cereal. Kiddo could live off of cereal, but so he adds cereal in as the daily snack every day in our meal plan on the Skylight. Oh my goodness, these kids. But ultimately, there are just so many incredible features of the Skylight calendar that are going to help your family, just like they're helping mine, to be able to manage everything, whether I am on site, on the ground in my home, or I'm able to do it remotely as I need to. It encourages my kids and will encourage yours to stay engaged in their responsibilities around the house. And it just makes coordinating everything and staying on top of it all so much smoother and streamlined. And like I mentioned, it really cuts down on that mental load for me. And I want that so badly for you. My friends, definitely, definitely take a look at this. You can also come on over to the Facebook group. Again, that link is down in the show notes, as well as the link to check out all 3 versions of the Skylight calendar and the coupon codes, those discount codes that you can use if you choose to purchase a Skylight calendar. Okay. And I want you to ask questions. If you have questions about things, whether you're still trying to make the decision about whether a Skylight calendar is right for you, or you've chosen to purchase a Skylight calendar and now you have some troubleshooting questions, because yes, with any new system, of course, there's going to be a learning curve. And I am definitely learning new things every day and taking advantage of new features that they are constantly pushing out, new features that help me streamline everything in my home and management of my home so much more easily, that I am always learning and growing with my Skylight calendar as well. So you can absolutely always come and ask me questions, and I'd be happy to give you a hand with it as well. All right, my friends, I hope you're having a wonderful week. You're staying organized from all angles. And if you are looking for a way to streamline your home management and take it to the next level, I definitely suggest taking a look at that Skylight calendar. Come on back and join me next week for another episode of the Declutter 360 podcast. Thank you for tuning into the Declutter 360 podcast today. I am so grateful that you found me and that we can partner together to help you live life organized from all angles. Whether this was your first time listening or you've heard every episode, you'll want to join my email list so you don't miss a bit of the inspiration and motivation to help you stay the course in living organized. Check the show notes for the link to join, okay? And hey, if you found this episode to be particularly helpful or inspiring, I would be so honored for you to share it on socials so we can grow the impact of these messages together. Oh, thank you so much. All right, my friend, that's all for now. Tune in next week for more on the Declutter 360 podcast.